Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Good morning to you. Hello, welcome back to the channel where you join me on a beautiful day in London. But let's get straight to the point. I've got some sad news. The AMG GT R seems to have picked up a small bit of damage, but I brought it today to Topaz Detailing because it looks like it might be okay. I'll show you that in a second. In fact, it's my daily driver, but it hasn't appeared on the channel for the last 4 or 5 weeks. Let's head straight in. I'll show you what's happened, and let's hope, fingers crossed, this can be rescued. We've just had a bit of a shuffle around because there are always supercars coming and going here at Topaz, which has left us in some rather illustrious company right now. But what exactly is wrong with the beast of the black hell, my Mercedes-AMG GT R? I love this car. It looks incredible. It's been on some amazing adventures already and built up huge numbers of memories. So when I saw this, I was not exactly happy about it, and I'm hoping today we're going to be able to rescue the problem. If we just take a quick walk around, see if you can see the issue. Initially it's something quite small. You might mistake it for a reflection or some funny light, but it's actually something that would have the potential to be excruciatingly expensive, and that is a very special Ferrari that is just driving past. That's a Zagato 550. Not many of those in the world. Anyway, back we go to the GTR. I've used it, as I say, for just about everything. Its last adventure was on the Mille Miglia to Italy. It's done over 12,000 miles. And in fact, if we just come and have a look at the odometer reading right now, it is a very nice number that it is showing at exactly this moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12,345 miles. That's what you call a car that is getting driven properly. So you haven't seen the blemish yet, I guess, but let's come round, just have a look at this. And I do not know exactly how this happened, but what you can see there on the top of the PPF is a scratch of some sort, which I believe happened during the Mille Miglia. We spotted it after the Mille Miglia. Remember, the car was chasing me driving the 300 SL, so it's been through plenty of small Italian towns, parked up with loads of people and crowds. Perhaps it could be something from a bike or a bicycle, but what you can see is that it has done quite a bit of scratching on that side. Now, this is where we have the lucky win that this car has full body paint protection film. So the entire body is covered in the Topaz skin that they install here to protect from stone chips and things like this. Now that in theory means that we can pull back this layer of film on this front fender panel, and this should lift off with it. Now, had that been straight through to paint, that would definitely have scratched open the paint for sure. The film is a little bit softer, so it does less damage onto it. But this panel, this front fender that runs from the A-pillar, the length of the bonnet down to the headlights, is carbon fibre. That panel, I don't know the exact price, but I think we're probably talking about £10,000 if it had shattered and needed replacing. So if this had cracked it, that could have been a 10 grand repair, whereas here, we're hopefully going to be able to peel this back, see paint that is either perfect underneath or almost perfect with an easy fix, and then re-protection film and put that back on the top. Now, please do excuse all of the noises in the background. We're on the industrial park here, but I am hoping that this is going to end up okay. Let's fire it up, take it inside, and have a look. It sounds so good with the Rentec upgrades, the downpipe, almost 700 odd horsepower. This thing is such a beast. Those burbles and grumbles will never get boring, but that bit of damage has got to go. So let's get inside the workshop, and then we can start peeling it off, and hopefully, just hopefully, the paintwork underneath is going to be fine. So the car is painted in Mercedes straight black. Just that noise, even the noise of the turbos. It is the ultimate beast in the way it's spec'd, and the extra black parts we did around the dechroming of the lights, the door handles as well, and also the front grille, just making those a little bit black. But basically, by having full paint protection film over the entire car, so every panel is done, from the bumpers, the bonnet, the mirrors, the carbon roof, you name it, the whole car is completely covered. Basically, even after this amount of mileage, just look at the reflections in the paintwork. They are basically completely clean and perfect, just a few bits of dust and water drops and things from where it's been parked outside. But it is amazing to have a car this well protected and looking so immaculate. Nice 488 in the reflection there, joined by plenty of other very nice cars around and about here as well, as always at Topaz. So, time to heat this up and start removing the film. and let's see if we can save that panel. It is time to pull back the film, so heating it up just to soften it a little bit, and then we will get to the moment of lifting past the damage and see how this looks. Oh, it's the moment of truth. And underneath, completely perfect. Absolutely perfect. That is proof in the pudding right there. That is why you have PPF. Completely the reason why you have PPF. Absolutely shown in a nutshell. That's actually incredible, isn't it? How you can see this on the material, how it's pierced through here, but on the car, it's immaculate. Magic. And now obviously the rest of that panel will be completely removed, and then it will be redone using the templating process that we saw a lot of when Nabil from Topaz explained it on video before now. So do check out that video if you'd like to see the full process. But quite literally, that whole panel can get pulled off, and then a new piece can be reinstalled using the film cut with template, so no knives go anywhere near the car, and then re-protected. But one thing that's quite interesting actually is just to come and have a complete look at this and look at the reflections. They are basically perfect, because what the film does is keep the paint exactly how it looked before. So if you've detailed it, and you can see from the reflections, literally look at my hand in the reflection, you can see that it was detailed beforehand. The paintwork was perfected in that case, then protected so that it stays looking like this forever. So somehow, something that basically, if this didn't have protection film on it, not only would the surface be more vulnerable anyway, but remember, that's a carbon fiber panel. That is ludicrously expensive, and carbon fiber means it doesn't stretch or bend or take dents. If it gets pushed past its point, it cracks, and literally it would almost kind of explode and fire out and make complete smithereens and a mess out of it. So where that would have been could have potentially ended literally in disaster, and like I said, been really quite painful, whereas as it is, it's absolutely fine. While we're here, just a few more things to talk about. So the front end of this car has obviously been through the abuse of about 12,000 miles on the road, driving in supercar rallies, convoys, those kind of events. So typically, if you had no PPF, it would be obliterated with stone chips. And by way of an example, if you look at the vinyl wrap on the grille slats, you can see just how many those have been hit by. The bonnet and top edge of the bumper have received some, and you can see the kind of remains of that, but mostly speaking, they're all completely fine, bar two little bits where the film has been pierced. Now what you have to remember is quite how big those stones will have been and how much damage they would have done to the bodywork, to the paint on the car, if there wasn't film on it. So what we're going to do also is peel back the bonnet to replace that and put on a new protection film layer onto the bonnet and see what these look like. Now it might have gone slightly through, there might be a bit of adhesive from the film left onto the paintwork, and we'll see if we can tidy that up afterwards. But basically, that's not exactly too bad when you consider the life that this car has already had. The bonnet is now latched up using these tools just so it holds rigidly in place. We've gone all the way around the edge. I've been helping the guys just to do the peeling. Then we're going to attack the front and see how this looks underneath. It's kind of the moment of truth again. See how this looks. Wow, that's not too bad actually. Just a really small mark, which you can be sure would have been completely destroyed. Now try and get the glue off it as well and see what this looks like. Goodness me, virtually vanished. There's ever so slightly a tiny little mark, but the proof is again in the pudding right here, because if there hadn't been film, that would be quite a large kind of white primer coloured hole in the front bonnet, whereas as it is, it's just a tiny thing which can even be machined just to sand it down slightly more and potentially completely remove it before putting new film on. This is of course a very large piece. It's basically the largest piece of film on the entire car, but that can be completely peeled back and continue. It is really satisfying watching the film being lifted up and pulled off the car, but you have to remember the entirety of it, every single body panel is covered in the clear paint protection film that has really proven its worth today. I've had this on various different cars before now, but cars with nice paint jobs, exclusive paint jobs, for example, if you have Green Hell Magno, you can also get satin film to protect that, or gloss film, the traditional style if you have a car with a normal paint job. But if you're going to have a nice paint job, or if you're going to have a car that you do a lot of miles with, you can imagine that this basically makes it stay perfect. The entire car is absolutely as it came out of factory, or as it was when the detailing completed, and that is over every single panel, everywhere you look on the whole thing. Even on some of the interior pieces sometimes. So on some cars, for example, if you have carbon fiber here, you can put it on, and we did on this. So this door sill, on the center part, it's got the cutouts for the illumination of the AMG badge that you can imagine is just chasing around the edges of each letter. But both that part and that part are covered in paint protection film. And on my McLaren, which has a carbon fiber center tunnel, even the center part of the center console there is also done. You can have door cards done on different cars, just making sure that every bit is completely done and protected. And honestly, I thoroughly recommend doing it, just because you can make a car perfect and stay perfect, which if you have a pride and joy like this, a car that you drive, use and enjoy, isn't that what you want? You know, that's what it's about. The only difficulty is with the sheer size of the bonnet on this car. It's quite awkward to get that entire panel removed, but there we go, it is done. This is, I think, probably one of the biggest pieces on the car. You also have the rear quarter, which stretches from the A-pillar all the way back in one single piece, and that's why Topaz used templates to have these machine plotted and cut out by the machine, as opposed to having to take a blade around the car, and then it just means it can be applied through the correct processes, and bingo, it's done. So before this goes back on the road, that needs recovering. It needs cleaning up just to get rid of some of the adhesive from the film first. So anything you might see on it, by the way, is just a little bit of glue that, as we've seen, will wipe away, and then it will get the new film on it, ready to be driven again. Just to put this in perspective, this car has been through about everything. It was nicknamed back in winter the Schneemobile, the German word given it's a German car for snowmobile. It was spending a lot of time in Germany, but heading down to France or to Italy through the Alps, driving in snow, and that means salt and grime. And then I was taking it to wash boxes at the side of the road, where I used the brushes shared by everyone that are no doubt filled with small bits of dirt that are going to scratch the paintwork, yet it still now looks this good. And if I come in close, just look at the reflections on the bonnet here. It's basically perfect, like it's just been detailed. You can see me in the camera, completely fine and clear. It's almost a black chrome mirror kind of thing going on here that we have into the roof across the ridges of the bonnet, but it's basically immaculate. And that is what's so impressive about this, how it keeps the car and maintains the quality of it and condition of it going forward. Obviously you can see in the engine bay that's not so clean, because again, it's been out driving non-stop. I drive this thing whatever the weather. It's the daily exciting car, you know, it's the Grand Tourer type of driving that you can have a relaxed journey, but then it's savagely fast. Big thanks in part to these guys at Rentec. It's just an absolute monster. Yes, it needs some slightly better brakes. That's something that would need to be worked on with the car if you wanted to do more driving with it. But generally speaking, it's a savage animal, and I'm super, super impressed to see the condition of the bonnet. You know, even the headlights are protected, so nothing around the front. Honestly, this would be so stone rashed if it didn't have paint protection on it. You would just see obliterated stone chips everywhere, where the primer coat from underneath the black would show through the black paint at every single impact spot. Yes, you can see that the paint protection film has taken impacts, but it would look so much worse if it hadn't. So much worse. So really, really pleased and impressed with this. I'm going to leave the car now with Topaz to reinstall the parts of the PPF that we've replaced, but what an immense relief for me that there is no permanent damage to one of the most expensive parts of the bodywork of the AMG GT R. In fact, most of the panels are not carbon fiber, just the wing, the roof, and also that very large front fender panel on each side, all the way from the A-pillars through to the front. Carbon fiber because it's lightweight, but the PPF, the paint protection film, has done exactly what the name suggests, and it has protected my paint perfectly. That's why you install it, especially on a car you care about and want to use this much. So it's going to look very good when I come to pick it up, when all the parts have been reinstalled and cleaned up a touch. But what an incredible car. A big thanks to Topaz as always. I hope you've enjoyed seeing the video and seeing how it can end up fine even given the circumstances. So thank you very much as always for watching, guys. That's it for this time. I will catch up with you again very soon. Cheers.